child, but I was able to scrape up a few in our bookshelves. So, without further ado, let me show you some of them. This one is called I Love You, Stinky Face. And it was written by Liza McCourt and illustrated by Sid Moore. I feel like this book was a more popular one. Like, I feel like some of you would probably recognize this book. I don't know. My mom would read it to me a lot as a child, and I do really like the art in it. It's cute. So, yeah. I'm glad she kept this one. Okay, let's get into it. If I can open the page. Okay. This was printed in 2004, so I would have been 2 years old when this book came out. Okay. I think I'm going to try to read these for you guys. Okay. Mama said, "I love you, my wonderful child, but I had a question. Mama, what if I were a big, scary ape? Would you still love me then?" If you were a big, scary ape, I would make your birthday cake out of bananas, and I would tell you, "I love you, my big, scary ape." Isn't the art so fun? But mama, what if I were a super smelly skunk and I smelled so bad that my name was Stinky Face? I like his little robot. Then I'd plunk you in a bubble bath, but if you still smell stinky, I wouldn't mind. I'd whisper in your ear, "I love you, Stinky Face." She's such a sweetheart. But mama, what if I were an alligator with big, sharp teeth? I'd buy you a bigger toothbrush, and if your throat hurt, I'd look inside your huge mouth. I tell you, "I love you, my dangerous alligator." I could flip the page. I feel like I skipped one. But mama, what if I were a terrible man-eating dinosaur? Oh, meat-eating dinosaur. This book is falling apart, if you couldn't tell. It's seen its days. Then I'd make you a mountain of hamburgers to eat. I'd say, "I love you, my sweet, terrible dinosaur." Look at all those hamburgers. But mama, what if I were a swamp creature with slimy, smelly seaweed hanging from my body? Then I would live by the swamp and take care of you always. I tell you, "I love you, my slimy swamp monster." This is actually a really cute house. I wouldn't mind living by the swamp. Maybe not if there was a giant, slimy monster creature. eggs instead of peanut butter. Then I would fill your lunchbox with spiders and ants and the tastiest bugs you've ever had. And I'd pack a note with all the bugs that said, "I love you, little greenie. Bon appetit." There's the note. I hope you guys can see this well enough, hopefully. But mama, what if I were a one-eyed monster? Man, these are stuck together. Then I would look right into your one eye and say, "I love you." And I would sing to you until your one droopy eyelid finally closed and you fell fast asleep. I love you, Mama. And I love you, my wonderful child. There's this guy. That's a very cute one, I think. I love you, stinky face. Okay. Another one that I remember reading a lot. And this one might be a little bit more niche. But this is Hi, Fly Guy. I was always fascinated by the cover. I forget what that's called, like holographic or something. But it's a little trippy. Little fly guy. And this one is written and I guess maybe illustrated also by Ted Arnold. I want to see when all of these books were published. This one was 2005, so a year after the last one. Okay, you guys ready? Chapter 1. A fly went flying. He was looking for something to eat, something tasty, something slimy. A boy went walking. He was looking for something to catch, something smart, something for the amazing pet show. He's got a whole bunch of stuff with him. Gator bait. Goodness, he's trying to find anything. They met. The boy caught the fly in a jar. A pet, he said. The fly does not look very happy to be in that jar. The fly was mad. He wanted to be free. He stomped his foot and said, "Buzz." The boy was surprised. He said, "You know my name. You are the smartest pet in the world." Anybody guess what his name is? Chapter 2. Buzz took the fly home. "This is my pet," Buzz said to Mom and Dad. "He is smart. He can say my name. Listen." Buzz opened the jar. The fly flew out. He's very happy to be free. "Flies can't be pets," said Dad. "They are pests." He got the fly swatter. The Fly cried, "Buzz!" And Buzz came to the rescue. "You are right," said Dad. "This fly is smart." "He needs a name," said Mom. Buzz thought for a minute. "Fly Guy," said Buzz. And Fly Guy said, "Buzz." It was time for lunch. Buzz gave Fly Guy something to eat. I never knew flies like hot dogs. His face. Man, this is hard to hold. Fly Guy was happy. Chapter 3. Buzz took Fly Guy to the amazing pet show. The judges laughed. "Flies can't be pets," they said. "Flies are pests." I don't think any of these, except for the cat, look like they'd be legal pets either. Can you own a giraffe? Maybe an octopus? I guess a goat, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what this is. I never knew what that was. A bear. It looks like it's got a tail. I don't know. Okay, I'm distracting from the story. Okay. Buzz was sad. He opened the jar. "Shoo, Fly Guy," he said. "Flies can't be pets." But Fly Guy liked Buzz. He had an idea. He did some fancy flying. Some very fancy flying indeed. The judges were amazed. "The fly can do tricks," they said. "But flies can't be pets." Then Fly Guy said, "Buzz." The judges were amazed. "The fly knows the boy's name," they said. "But flies can't be pets." Fly Guy flew high, high, high into the sky. Then he dived down, down, down into the jar. "The fly knows his jar," the judge says. "This fly is a pet." They let Fly Guy in the show. He even won an award for the smartest pet, apparently. And so began a beautiful friendship. And that was Hi Fly Guy by Ted Arnold. I specifically remembering this book and thinking I wanted a fly as a pet. But I don't think that ever worked out in my childhood. Not to mention, I don't think flies have very long lifespans, so yeah, sorry to give it a morbid twist, but their friendship probably didn't last very long. Okay, what do I have next? I remember this one. I don't know if this one was very popular when I was younger, but yes, I like this one a lot. It's called Caps for Sale, a tale of a peddler, some monkeys, and their monkey business. I like the art in it. I feel like children's books always have fun art, which makes sense. I think I looked, earlier, and this one was 1940 and 1947 was when this was made, or like renewed. So it's an old story and old art. I think it's really cool. I think this one also has a little message. everyone. Micah, have fun reading your book. Papa and Nana love you. So sweet. But just look at that. I love the art. It reminds me, I don't even know what they're called, but like certain puzzles that I would do with my family had this kind of style, and they were like different towns. I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense or if you guys know what I'm talking about, but they were towns that kind of look like this, and they were made into puzzles, like a lot of them. But yeah, let's get into reading it. Can you see? That's a lot of hats. Caps, sorry. Here we go. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler, carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First, he had on his own checked cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. Gray, brown, blue, red. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight so as to not upset his caps. As he went along, he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." Easier to see, I don't know. One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps. That morning, nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," said he, and he walked out of the town, slowly, slowly, so as not to upset his caps. I wonder if he made all the caps by himself. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," thought he, and he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were straight. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. They were all there, so he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. Look at this little flower. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. That's always nice. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps are in the right place. All he felt was his own checked cap. He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in back of him. He looked in back of him. Is that proper English? No caps. He looked behind the tree, no caps. Then he looked up into the tree, and what do you think he saw? I don't know. On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or brown or blue or a red cap. Monkeys are cute. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking a finger at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." This made the peddler angry, so he shook both his hands at them and said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook both their hands back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." By this time the peddler was really very, very angry. He stamped both his feet and shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." At last he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and threw it on the ground and began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off his cap, and all the gray caps, and all the brown caps, and all the blue caps, and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps, on the very top. And slowly, slowly, he walked back to town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." The end. I feel like when you're a kid, you feel like the stories are so expansive, like there's honestly like no end to them. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like reading it as an adult, it's like very straightforward and like very short. You know what I mean? But I do remember liking this a lot, and like liking this little world that he was in. So that's that one. I've got one more for you guys. This one was actually probably my favorite, or definitely one of the most memorable. Yeah. And this one is called "I Love You the Purplest." Purple, purple, purple. I Love You the Purplest, by Barbara M. Juice and illustrated by Mary White. Part of why it was my favorite was because when we were kids, this looked a lot like my brother, and this looked a lot like me, and this looked a lot like my mom. And so, you know, you imagine this as my mom, my brother, and I. And when my mom would read this to us, she'd replace the characters' names for the boys as me and my brother's names. So, yeah, it was fun. And we'll get into the story, but it was very relatable to our personalities and kind of like sibling rivalry. But, yeah. Not to mention the art is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I don't know. I love watercolor. Watercolor's so fun. It's just beautiful. But yeah. So let's get into it. I Love You the Purplest. Now this is a bigger book, so it might be difficult to read, but we'll see. This one has another note. This one's from my mom's parents, so my other grandparents, and they gave it to her for Mother's Day in 2004, and they wrote, with deep love and gratefulness to our daughter, Rachel. Thank you for carefully loving and training our grandsons. We love you, Dad and Mom. That's sweet. Okay. Just look at that. It's beautiful. Okay. Hopefully you can hear my voice from this far back. Early in the evening, the brothers and their mama finished supper in the sturdy red cabin and set out to fish. The lake slowed its thrashing to a soft, even beat. The mosquitoes dipped low to the water. Where was I? And the water bugs skittered on top. The moon glowed on the other side of the lake, while the sun shimmered on the other. This was the time when fishing was best. Max exploded from the cabin, and I think Max was my brother. So my mom would replace Max with my brother's name. Twirling the shovel in front of him, Mama came next, and then Julian. That was me. Julian shut the cabin door tightly to keep it safe from the burglars and bears. Julian scooped the dirt to find the fattest worms. Max jumped on the shovel and flung dirt in the air until a tinkled worms filled his can. Mama, who has the most worms? He asked. Mama smiled. Max, your can is full with the liveliest worms, and Julian, your can has the juiciest. Max, Julian, and Mama stepped into the small wooden boat. Julian took one oar, and Max took the other. Julian planted his blue boots wide and took deep, even strokes. Max braced his red boots against the ribs of the boat and stroked quickly through the water. The brothers' faces were hot, and they gulped at the air. Julian gasped, "Mama, who's the best rower?" Oh, that's so pretty. Mama's eyes grew soft. "Why, Julian, you took the deepest strokes, and Max, your strokes were fastest." The three fished until stars sprinkled the sky and water turned dark as night. In the end, Mama caught one fish, Julian caught one fish, and Max caught 3. "I'm the best fisherman," cried Max, hoisting his fish in the air. Julian pushed his hat brim low on his face. 3 fish, what a bountiful fisherman you are," said Mama. "And Julian, you're the cleverest. Your fish hid in the weeds, but you waited. When your bobber jerked in the water, you kept your pole high and you reeled in a fine fat fish." When the fishing and the baths and the stories were done, Mom tucked the brothers into bed. Julian slept in the top bunk, and she reached up to kiss him goodnight. "Mama," whispered Julian, his hands forming a tunnel around her ear. "Who do you love best?" Mama thought for a minute, and then she whispered, "Why, Julian, I love you the bluest. I love you the color of a dragonfly at the tip of its wing. I love you the color of a cave in its deepest, hidden part where grizzly bears and bats curl up until night. The mist of a mountain, the splash of a waterfall, the hush of a whisper." The breath in Julian's chest grew and grew and grew until it can't hold it any longer. Then it came out in a long, velvety sigh. Mama crouched low to the bunk where Max slept. Max wriggled his finger for Mama to come close. He whispered, "Mama, who do you love best?" miles through the jungle, and the color of a campfire at the edge of the flame. A wide open hug, the swirl of a magic cape, the thunder of a shout. The smile on Max's face grew and grew until his cheeks couldn't hold it in. Then it came out in a big, thundery laugh. Thank you. Later in the evening, the brothers and their mama slept, one in the top bunk, glowing like the evening moon, one in the bottom bunk, shimmering like the evening sun, and Mama in the big bed, dreaming of the boys she loved best. Isn't that such a sweet book? Man, takes me back to my childhood. Very special, very special. Well, that's all the books that I have for you today. Let me know if you want me to read more books in the future. Could be more children's books, or could be anything really. I kind of have my own little library here. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.